Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies. We're having recurring technical problems here with the committee, and our morning session ran incredibly late. So unfortunately, those problems are still here, and so you can expect some delays for this afternoon's hearing. My sincere apologies. Again, during the declared emergency in the City of Toronto, Committee of Adjustment virtual public hearings are being conducted by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform, and streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. These measures are necessary to comply with physical distancing requirements and in-person attendance limitations. This will be a virtual public hearing, and participants who have registered in advance will be able to make their presentations to the committee using WebEx, an online event that is being moderated by city staff. Anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so by watching it on YouTube. Participants who have registered in advance will be connecting either by their computer, a phone or tablet app, or by telephone. All participants are automatically muted on entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. Only the committee members are participating by video. Any registered participants will be participating by audio only. We ask that you also mute your devices until you are called on to speak. For all those who are waiting online, please ensure that you have called in with the phone number that you originally registered with. If you call in with a different number, you will not be able to speak on that item. To ensure audio clarity, I suggest that you do not use the speakerphone function on your telephones. We acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with Sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. My name is Alan Smithies, and I will chair today's meeting. Joining us on the panel today are Ron Hunt, Asif Khan, Paul Kidd, and Nadini Sankar Peralta. City staff are also present: Simon Lam, Adam Wills, and Amir Nassan. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning bylaw that apply to property, permission to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. Anyone attending today who wants to receive a copy of the committee's decision must submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address because Committee of Adjustment and the T-Lab will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the committee's decision, it may be appealed to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, T-Lab, or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the committee's decision. The hearing procedure is as follows. I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant will proceed with their presentation if desired. If the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak on that item. The committee may ask questions and/or take the matter into the committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or agent, is given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you are reaching the 5-minute limit. When addressing the committee, please state clearly your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters described in the application. The applicant or agent proceeds first and will make their presentation to the committee. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. To ensure the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the changes, the committee may decide to defer the application if it is substantially revised. Then individuals either in support or opposed to the application are invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant or agent has an opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the previous speakers. This marks the end of discussion on the item. The application is then taken into committee for a decision. I wanted to ask the committee members, do any committee members have a conflict of interest they'd like to declare? No? Okay, thank you. I have a deferral request That is for item number 24, 126 Fenn Avenue, Fenn. And the agent is Zihan Shah. Are you there?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'm here.
Yes, thank you, sir. Can I
My
get
name
your
is
full name and address, please?
my name is Ji Hong Xia, and my address is 10 Estabrook Avenue, Toronto.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask, what was the reason for the deferral?
The reason is based on the homeowner's decision. His family status changed, and he made decision he will redesign the proposal, and we have to resubmit for zoning review. That's the reason we ask deferral this application.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on the deferral request, please? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to put forward a motion to defer the application, sine die, to allow the applicant to redesign his application.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Sir, your application's been revised to the next available meeting so that you can resubmit your application, your revised application. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I believe we also have a deferral request for 26 York Road. I'm looking for the agent, Giorgio Lolos, L-O-L-O-S. Are you there?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair.
Yes,
Can
hello.
you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Hello, how are you?
Can I get your full
Good
name and
afternoon.
address?
Sorry,
Can I get your full name and address, please?
Giorgio Lolos, 220 Duncan Mills Road, Suite 217.
Okay, sir. I understand you're asking for a deferral.
Yes, sir, we are. We're asking for deferral for further discussions with planning. Planning has asked us to sort of adjust two of the variances, one height and flanking side yard setback. So we're in the process of revising our drawings to capture planning's wish and their support.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask, you have had the opportunity to review the city planning report of the 10th of November. They were also recommending deferral.
I have not, unfortunately, that must have gone directly to the client. It didn't come to me, sir. I'll have to ask, is the plan, which department was this?
This was city planning, sir. Their report of the 10th, it's on the city's Committee of Adjustment website under your.
Yeah, no.
They're
No,
recommending
we have
deferral because they were, if it wasn't deferred, they were recommending refusing variances 4 and 10 regarding the building height and variance number 9 regarding the south side yard setback.
correct. No. We have been in contact with planning. I have talked to her, and we both agreed to defer the application to.
Okay, so it's a deferral to discuss with staff. So could I get any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Oh, well, I can't hear you, folks. Did we lose them?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, we lost the room again.
Enter the event panelist numeric password, followed by pound.
our website, and from there, you can make your donation. Please donate what you can, and that will make a huge difference in our community. So now I will pass it on to my colleague, Lauda.
Great, thank you, Nisha. And as Nisha said, every dollar counts, so thank you so much for your support. And thank you, Nisha, for your continued leadership. For the next part of our event, we have a very special performance for you. Our next performer is brought to you by the Music Office's City Hall Live series.
I'm sorry, committee. We had another blackout. We have. Can I get a motion on a deferral application for 26 York Road? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I'll motion to defer this application, sine die, give the agent a bit more time to prepare this application. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously deferred to the next available meeting so that you can discuss your application with staff.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We are on our next, back to our regular agenda. We are on item number 25, 232 Willowdale Avenue. I have one person registered to speak, and that's the agent Shenshu Zhang, Z-H-A-N-G. Are you there?
Yes. Yeah.
Look, can I get
Can you
your
hear
full-
me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can
Yeah,
I get your
my
full
name
name?
is
Can I get your
yeah,
full
my
name
name
and
is
address?
Shenshu Zhan. Yeah, my name is Shenshu Zhan, architect, 98 Scarsdale Road, North York.
Okay, thank you, sir. Just wanted to ask, there is
Yeah.
a report from city planning attached to your file dated the 9th of November. And
Yeah, I have
yeah,
reviewed
and
that
that
report.
report recommends refusing variance number 1 for the proposed south side yard setback to the porch, variance number 2 for the proposed south side yard setback for the south canopy, variance number 6 for the proposed platform encroachment, and variance number 7 for the proposed canopy encroachment. And they add that should we approve the revised application, once these deletions are made, staff recommends that the applicant submit a revised site plan with a notation indicating that the applicant will construct the driveway with permeable pavers. So I just wanted to ask, have you had the opportunity to review that report?
Yes, I have reviewed that. We like to reduce the. We like to change the variance number 6.
Well, I
And
wanted I wanted to ask, in view of all the refusals they're recommending, would you like to defer the application to discuss it with planning?
Yes.
Okay, all right. We have a request from the applicant to defer the application to discuss with city planning. Are there any questions of the applicant? No. Ms. Sankar, would you like to make a motion? Thank you.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to defer this application. It's clear there's a lot of unanswered questions with planning that this applicant needs to go through, and I'll do that sine die. Thank you.
Thank you. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been deferred to the next available meeting so that you can meet with city planning. Good luck, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Item number 27, 39 Line Dock Crescent. I have one person registered to speak, and that is Remus Jurchis.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to bring to your attention, there was a late register for this meeting and for this item, but they are not on the call at this time.
Okay, so we just have the agent.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Looking for the agent for 39 Line Dock Crescent, Remus Jurchis, Jurchis. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, can
Mr.
I
Chair.
get your full name and address, please, sir?
Remus Jurchis, The address is 39 Lindo Crescent, M3A to A7, North York.
Okay, thank
Ontario.
you, sir. I just gone through your file. I note that we have no comments or recommended conditions from staff. You have 3 variances before us. It's pretty clear what you're asking for. Is there anything you'd like to tell the committee this afternoon that isn't contained in the material that we have before us this afternoon?
I just would like to mention all these variances are minor and they are inherited. This is the way that the house was built maybe 50 years ago. And now with the new conditions, of course, these variances occurred. I have a large family and I need, everyone is entitled for a bedroom / office, because as you can see, the future probably is mostly for online activities remotely. And I have 3 daughters, so 5 residents at this location.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the
Thank
committee
you.
have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I do believe that this application is appropriate and very minor. I'll put forward a motion to approve this application without condition.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that? Mr. Kidd seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Have a good
Thank
one.
you. Item number 28, 202 Drury Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That's Peter Giordano. Are you there, sir?
Hi, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I'm right here.
Yes, thank you, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Absolutely. It's Peter Giordano, David Small Designs, 1405 Cornwall Road in Oakville.
Thank you, sir. I note that looking at your file, we have recommended condition from Urban Forestry. There's a report from City Planning dated the 9th of November. They have no objections to your application, provided that the proposal is constructed substantially in accordance with the site plan, right east elevation and left west elevation drawings submitted to the committee as attachments 1 and 2 to their report, and that the side of the covered porch abutting the west side lot line remain open and unenclosed. There is a letter from Councillor Filion dated the 18th of November, which supports planning recommendations. And I just wanted to ask, sir, if you've had the opportunity to read that material.
I absolutely have. We acknowledge, understand, and accept those conditions.
Thank you, sir. Is there anything you'd like to tell? It's pretty clear what you're asking for in your application, so I'll just ask, is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this afternoon?
Just to reinforce the fact that our clients canvass the neighborhood, have 3 letters of support, many other expressing verbal support. They have a positive feedback letter, email from the pastor, Pastor Young of the church next door. Aside from that, we believe that the city department's declaring no concerns, that our proposal is minor, appropriate, keeps in the character of the neighborhood, and passes the 4 tests of section 45.
Great, thank you very much, sir. Does the committee have any, does the committee have any questions of the speaker? No. Mr. Kidd, do you have a question?
I do, Mr. Chair. If I could, in our agenda, we had 2 public hearing notices, one revised and one the original one, I guess. Both of them dated November 8th. Do we know which one got sent out to for notification to the public?
Is that the planning report, Mr. Kidd, or the notice?
No, I have 2 copies of the notice. They're both dated November 8th, saying they got mailed out on November 8th. But one of them is says hearing notice revised. The other one is public hearing notice.
Okay, Mr. Lamb, are you aware of a revision?
Yes, it's in your package. Use the revised one.
Okay.
It says public notice revised. That's the one you should.
And that's the one that went out to the public, is it?
That's correct.
That's the one we should be using.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Members and staff can see that it's also on the screen now.
Okay. Let me just dig that up myself.
Mr. Chair, I think Ms. Sankar has a.
Oh, Ms. Sanker, I'm sorry. Did you have a question?
No, I was just ready for a motion because I
Okay.
do have the right
All right,
materials
thank
in
you.
front of me.
I'm
So I have the updated materials. And as such, I'm going to put forward a motion, I believe, to approve this application because I do believe that it's appropriate, meets the 4 tests. And I will make it subject to the November 9th staff report, and that the proposal be constructed substantially in accordance with the site plan right east elevation and left west elevation drawing submitted to committee, and the side of the covered port abutting the west side of the lot line remain open and unenclosed. I'll make this also subject to forestry, and I see transport has no concerns. That's my motion.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Kidd seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously, sir. Your application's been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry and city planning conditions.
That's terrific. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day. Item number 29, 57 Glen Grove Avenue West. We have one person registered to speak. That's a Khalid Ibrahim. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Khalid Ibrahim, 3908 Quiet Creek Drive, Mississauga.
Okay, thank you, sir. I note that gone through your file, there are no comments or recommended conditions from staff. You have one floor space index variance before us. It's pretty clear what you're asking for. I'll just ask, is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material that we have before us this afternoon?
Actually, nothing. We believe that our application is a straightforward application.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Kidd.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I feel this was a minor application for variance, and I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application without condition.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kidd. Someone, Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now on item number 30, 11 Bonington Place, I have one person registered to speak. That is an Ali Tanha, T-A-N-H-A. Are you there? Ali?
I'm present, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Ali Tanha?
Yes, I'm present, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yeah, Ali Tano, 59 Rycote Crescent, East York.
Okay, thank you, sir. I've gone through your application. I note that there's a recommended condition from urban forestry. Also a report from city planning dated the 9th of November that recommends modifying variance number 4 for the proposed lot coverage from 33.09% to 32%. And if this revised application is approved, staff further recommends that the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the main elevation and rear elevation drawings submitted to the committee, attached as attachments 1 and 2 to their report. I just wanted to ask, sir, did you want to make that a reduction in lot coverage as recommended by planning? Hello, sir?
Mr. Chair, we lost the room again.
Enter the event panelist numeric password, followed by pound.
Let's hear everybody in here. Everybody at home, are you excited? Yes. We have a very special presentation from our very own Janine Bryan from 311, who has been our DJ at the Civic Gala for the past number of years. And we're excited that DJ JJ Rock is with us again this year for our virtual dance party. So everyone at home, if you've been sitting at your desk or sitting on your couch, stand up, stretch your legs, put on your dancing shoes. Everyone who has joined us here in person, stand up in your seats. And over to you, Janine.
My apologies, we had another audio blackout. We're still on item number 30, 11 Bonington Place. Mr. Tanha, just wanted to ask, did you want to, the staff report recommends modifying variance number 4 for the lot coverage from 33.09% to 32%. Would you like to modify your application as recommended by planning?
Mr. Chair, I would like to keep that as is, and I would like to elaborate on that as a presentation.
Sir, if that's the case, then if you could give the committee a presentation and what your justification is for that, for maintaining that figure.
For sure. If the staff could please pull up the presentation file I've submitted. I would like to say that generally this is a corner lot and it is a reverse corner lot. It has some restrictions imposed by that fact, and we have 4 main variances. That one is the exterior side yard setback, the coverage, side wall height, and the general height based on the old bylaw. The other variances are tied and not independent variances, and they're directly tied to the exterior side yard setback variance. And that's why the staff generally did not have any comment about those items. I would like to elaborate on the coverage item that we are not in agreement with the staff. I see that one, I can categorize the item as 4 factors that we have seen that we think it's reasonable to have this coverage. One is the overall size of the house that is being proposed. This lot is 35 foot wide and is located between all 40 or more foot wide lots in the area, both on Bonington and Lindale Drive. The prevailing home size for new homes based on the bylaw would be around, the footprint would be around 1,500 square feet based on a 5,000 square foot lot, based on 30% coverage with no cumulative adjustment. The overall size and footprint of this house that we're proposing is 1,455 square feet, which is still lower than what the bylaw allows for the prevailing lot size in the area. So with all that to say that the house in terms of the size is not outlier in the area and is not bigger than the typical new home in the area. The other item is we have designed the house and we're asking for that 1 extra % over what the staff recommending, with keeping no side setback variance on the neighbor side and no side yard, no setback on front and rear side of the house, no variance for length or depth. That shows that we are within the area that is allowed by the bylaw, not affecting the neighbors of this property. The other item that I saw in the staff report is the surface water management. I would like to just mention that we don't have any softscaping variance, not for front, side, so both sides or rear. And even though our driveway is on the side of the lot, we have kept the soft landscaping on that side as the bylaw is requiring to be able to manage the water surface and surface water on that side. And the site is mostly covered by permeable materials to allow the water to go down on the property. And lastly, I just wanted to mention that this house has been designed based on the concept of being barrier-free. The homeowner, my client, is a 70-year-old single parent to 2 adult children with disability. The extra square footage goes a long way for them. And if you see the plans of this house, for being a small house, we have managed to put an elevator in the house to make the design barrier-free and make it possible for them to move within the house with no problem. So all that said, we would be accepting the 32% if the committee does not find my reasoning justified and acceptable. Otherwise, we would like to ask you for that 3309 for the coverage. I would be happy to answer any other questions regarding this one or other items, but to just keep it brief, I'll end my presentation here. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, I just wanted to find out, I get everything that you're asking and talking about the need for a home with children with disabilities and the elevator. Can you just tell me a little bit about if this 33% is somewhat characteristic of that neighborhood regardless?
In terms of the number alone, if we look at the number alone, I believe 32 is the highest that has been approved within the area. But as I had in my presentation, I wanted to say that this lot is an undersized lot compared to other lots in the area. Only corner lots are smaller. Other lots are 40-foot wide or bigger, which puts the overall size of this house, regardless of the coverage being 33%, smaller than other homes in the area in terms of the prevailing character and size of the homes in the area. I hope that's clear enough.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? Could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. You know, knowing that this is a bit of a unique circumstance on a personal level for this applicant, and knowing that the lot and the size of corner lots are a little bit reduced, and seeing that they try to make this within the scope of not having all of these additional variances, which they could have pushed for, I'm willing to accept the explanations provided by the applicant here today or the agent here today. And so I'll put forward a motion to approve this application, and I will make it subject to forestry, as well as subject to the November 9th staff report stating that the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the main elevation and rear elevation drawings submitted to the committee. That's my motion.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that motion?
Mr. Chair, I would like to know whether it is 32% or 33%.
Pardon me, Mr. Khan?
I have not made a motion on the reduction of the variance number 4. It remains at the 33.09%. Yeah.
Thank you. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your revised, your application has been approved unanimously, subject to urban forestry and city planning conditions.
I appreciate it, Mr. Chair and the committee members.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good evening.
We are now on item number 31, 141 Sweeney Drive. I have one person registered to speak. That is Dennis Koskun, C-O-S-K-U-N. Are you there?
Hello. Yes, I am. Denise
Oh, I'm
Barrett
sorry.
Costin.
Yes, thank you. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, Denise Barrett Costin of 141 Sweeney Drive.
Okay, thank you, madam. I just was going through your application. I noticed in the file we have two reports, one from Toronto Region Conservation Authority from the 4th of November and one from Ravine and Natural Features Protection from the 8th of November. Both of those reports have no objections to your application. I note that you've got two variances before us. It's pretty clear what you're asking for. I'll just ask, is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this afternoon?
I do have a bit of follow-up information as to why we're asking for the variances, if that's okay.
That's fine.
So thank you all, and Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, for allowing us to speak today. For item number 1 in the zoning notice, you've already mentioned that TRCA has provided their blessing. So I'll skip forward to item number 2, which is essentially the south side setback. Our planned deck is currently in line with the wall of our house. So it doesn't exceed the existing wall, and our planned exit for the deck is via an existing window, which was selected in order to allow for the optimal usability of our family's main living space. And in order for the planned exit to be viable, we require the deck to extend along the existing line of the house, not indent from it. So that's with regard to number 2. With regard to number 3, I just wanted to mention that our home is a 1-story bungalow, and we have a walkout from the basement, which means that our first floor is at an elevated level from the backyard. So our intent is not to build a deck that is in disregard of height regulations. Rather, our variance request is so that we're able to use our outdoor space to the best advantage of our family from the main floor. Given that our deck connects to the rear main wall of our home, the bylaw allows us to have the floor of the deck at the outlined height up to 2.5 meters from the house, as I understand it. What we're asking is that we not be required to drop to a lower level after that 2.5 meters so that we can keep our deck one level. And the reason that we'd like to keep our deck one level is to avoid the addition of any unnecessary steps, which we feel will become difficult to navigate as we get older, and is already difficult, or would be already difficult for my elderly parents to navigate. And they also help care for our children, so that's the main factor for us. We've also made a preemptive and voluntary decision to lower the height of our planned deck below the height of our main level by a couple of steps, just in order to protect the sightline of our neighbors on either side of our home. And if needed, we're happy to add a privacy wall if there's a concern from privacy. Additionally, a short walk around the valley would make it obvious to any onlooker that other homes in the neighborhood have decks in similar situations where the back of the house is built on lower ground than the front, and their decks are of similar size and similar heights. We can look to at least 5 houses within the line of sight from our house that are located on Anowin Drive, and those decks currently sit at a higher height than our planned deck. Specifically, number 5, 7, 9, 11, and 13 Anowin all have decks of comparable size. So therefore, our request is in line with existing decks within our neighborhood. And then if I could direct you to page 7 of our plans, you'll notice that the height of the main platform of the deck is 1.83 centimeters. It's only 63 centimeters more than the height indicated in zoning, and it only applies to the portion starting after the 2.5 meters of the rear wall. And again, because our home is a bungalow with a walkout basement, this deck it's like a main floor deck. And the outlined height is just a result of the height discrepancy from the front of the house to the back. So we're hoping that the committee sees this as these variances as minor. And I think that's it. That's all I had to say. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you.
Thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Having listened to the speaker detailing the reason for
Mr. Hunt, can you speak up a bit?
Sure. Let me just try something here. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. As I said, having listened to the speaker explaining the reasons for the variances and the fact that there were no departmental comments or concerns other than the TRCA letter and the Ravina Natural Features Protection letter, I would move approval of this without condition.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Someone to second that motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Madam, your application's been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Item number 32, 305 Churchill.
Mr. Chair, we've lost the room again. Just now. We just lost it, so.
Okay.
Enter the event panelist numeric password, followed by pound.
All right, Mr. Chair, we're good to go.
My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. We had another audio problem. We are now on item number 32, 305 Churchill Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That is David McKay. Are you there, Mr. McKay?
Yes, sir. It's David McKay.
Yes, thank
Thank
you. Thank you, Mr. McKay. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, it's David McKay. I'm with MHBC Planning, 7050 Weston Road, Suite 230, Woodbridge, Ontario, L4L 8G7.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just went through your file. We have one report there from City Planning dated the 9th of November. They have no objections to your application, provided that the proposal is constructed substantially in accordance with the side west and side east elevation drawings submitted to the committee, attached as attachment 1 and 2 to their report. Just wanted to ask, sir, if you've had the chance to read that report.
Yes, I have, and I'm accepting of those conditions.
Okay, thank you, sir. It's pretty clear what you're asking for in the 6 variances that you have before us. I'll just ask, is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material that we have before us this afternoon?
I don't think so. The proposal is for an infill development in an area that is experiencing similar growth, similar to a couple of houses down the street. I believe it will fit in with the neighborhood and is appropriate from a planning perspective and meets, I'm not sure what that was, but but meets the planning tests under section 45.1.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm taking the staff recommendation and it will be constructed substantially in accordance with the side west and side east elevation drawings submitted to the committee. Attachment 1 and 2 to this report, and I move this application be approved.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Someone to second Mr. Khan's motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? The motion carries unanimously. Mr. McKay, your application's been unanimously approved, subject to city planning conditions.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, sir. Now on item number 33, I have 3 people registered to speak. The agent is the Paul DeCunha. Are you there, sir?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. I just wanted
Excellent.
to gone through your file, sir. I note that there's a recommended condition from urban forestry, but that's the only staff condition on file with your application. We have 2 other persons registered to speak, sir, so if you could give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'm Paul DeCunha. I'm the architect and agent for this project. As you are aware, we have 5 variances. Variance number 1 is, well, first of all, we've worked very closely with planning in order to achieve a status of no planning adverse comments. So planning is happy. In fact, we had some additional variances and we were able to reduce it with our efforts and working closely with planning. Variance number 1 is very, very negligible and extremely minor. Variances 2 and 3 are essentially the same variance, and I want to address them by stating that the home that we're keeping, although this project is construed as a new house as a result of the amount of walls that we are retaining, the owner is still nevertheless retaining a certain number of walls, and they are in their existing position. They've gotten incrementally, let's just say the number has gotten incrementally larger due to the fact that we're going to be cladding the sidewalls so that to make the new finishes meet the front of the house, which will also have new finishes. But essentially, these are existing conditions. And the height variances and the number of stories, it's very obvious when one walks the neighborhood. In fact, the house to the south, number 2 of Forestwood, the house to the north, number 6 Forestwood, number 8 Forestwood. There are homes on the adjacent street. They're up 3 stories. So those 2 variances are, again, I would say relatively minor and in keeping with the neighborhood and the prevailing development. So as such, we feel that our variances overall are minor in nature. We've worked with planning. Planning has no concerns. And I think that speaks for itself, and I'd be very happy to answer any of your questions.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask still a question about your side yard setbacks. If you could give us a little more justification on those, because I think you're reducing them somewhat from existing.
Yeah, they're being reduced, when I say incrementally, literally by inches, the thickness of material.
Oh, I see.
So the thickness of what it would be to put new stone on the wall. I unfortunately can't take down. It was with, I mean, we're trying to be sustainable. We were not trying to tear down the whole house, although from a definitional perspective, the house is brand new. We are still utilizing existing walls and existing elements of the house. But of course, if I take out a thickness of brick on an existing solid masonry wall, I'm actually undermining its structural capacity and integrity. Therefore, the only thing I can do is add to it. So what I have is an inch worth of airspace, which is necessary for constructional purposes, and 3.5 inches of brick, and that is the extra amount. The back wall on the north side is, again, for all intents and purposes, in exactly the same position as an addition that we are taking down, and we are only taking down that addition because it's so poorly built. The wall on the new addition on the south side, that is about 4 foot 9 inches away from the property line, and again, although 1.8 is what may be required, if we look at the house to the south, it has about 3 feet and 2 foot 10 at some points, and the house to the north itself only has 4 foot 9. So there are conditions like that are prevailing in the neighborhood as well.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for clarifying that. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Yael or Oz Cohen, C-O-H-E-N. Are you there?
Yes, it's Oz Cohen.
Yes, Mr. Cohen, could I get your full name and address, please?
Sure. First name is Oz, last name is Cohen. My address is 2 Forest Wood.
Okay, thank you, sir. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Sure. We had submitted a letter to the committee with the neighbor to the north of the property as well, number 6. Unfortunately, he could not be in attendance. He's flying right now. So I'll speak sort of on both of our behalf. As stated in our letter, our first time that we ever heard about this application came 2 weeks ago when we received notification. Prior to that, the developer had actually spoken to my wife and said that they're keeping everything as is and doing some internal renovation. When we received the application, we were somewhat surprised. And again, I understand that something is being discussed as minor, but we saw that in addition to where a house is existing right now, which is very close to our house on both our house and the house to number 6, an additional ½ foot on each side is being requested. And actually at the chimney level on the north side, that has barely any side yards. And yes, the area, and my house as an example, does have variance up to 6 feet. I've not seen anything below below that. But all of those houses, every single one has access from the opposite side. My house, for example, has a 3-foot setback on one side, 6 foot on the other side, where machinery, things can be taken to the backyard and done. And again, we had a neighbor there that we had allowed to use access on our property to get machinery to the backyard. The house to the north as well. It's a neighbor that we had known, for a long time. But right now, to have a house in the neighborhood with setbacks on each side of 2.5 feet is completely unprecedented. I went around, I measured everyone. The lowest that I saw was 5 feet on one side and sort of 3 on the other for a total of 8. Here, 5 feet is being requested, and actually it's even less than that. So what we did request, and again, if we had the opportunity to speak to the developer, we would have sat down and tried to come to terms, is A, that at least there's a condition of fencing that be done between the properties, but B, that he be asked to sort of set back at least one of the sides where the backside can be serviced without damaging the fence, etc. I do want to note that the fence to my house, which was in existence before, was severely damaged. I did submit some pictures because there's no way to get to the backyard otherwise. Given that this is being looked at as a new development, and I understand that keeping a little bit and keeping sort of a wall or trying to sort of make some case that the house is being maintained is made. No, this is a new development like all the other ones have sprung up in the neighborhood. And we're actually in support of a new construction, and we want to be reasonable in what we're approaching. Having 2.5 setbacks on both sides of your house is unprecedented. We don't think it's reasonable.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Lizette Rowland. Are you there? Yes, hello?
Yes, hello?
Yes, can I get your full name
Hello?
and address, please?
Elisette Roland, 474 Litton Boulevard.
Okay, thank you, madam.
And,
Your voice is muffled. It's somewhat hard to hear you.
Okay, do you hear me now?
That's better, thank you.
I can go back on the. Are you okay now?
Yes. Can I get your full name and
Go
address
back on
again?
the computer. Lisette Roland, Roland, and the address is 474 Litton Boulevard, Lytton Boulevard.
Okay, thank you, madam. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Excuse me? Okay, my observation is about something I'm not sure it's included, but because it's within the boundaries, that's a problem. There is a retaining wall on the Fort Forest Hood house. There is their backyard is backing up on our property, and it's at least 4 feet higher. So there is a retaining wall. And that retaining wall, including the fence and everything, is encroaching on our property, but by at least 2 feet. So we wanted to know what's going to happen about that. And the wall is like bent. The wall is coming also onto our property, and the soil also is pushing on the wall. That's why we're losing about 2 feet of our land. And they have also the fence that is completely bent towards us. And they had some little trees along the fence. They removed them, but we think that the roots of those trees, in addition to the weight of the soil, has pushed the wall and is encroaching on our property. So I wanted just that we're all aware of this, that we need to do something about it, because we don't want to wait until they build things and they push and they get closer and closer, because this is happening to us all the time from every side. So we don't want to have a problem again. So we just wanted you to be aware of the boundaries that are pushing the wall and we're losing about 2 feet of land, including with the wall, I guess. I didn't measure anything. We have a friend who is an engineer and architect, and he's not here right now, but he told us just to talk about it, and he saw the problem. I can take pictures. Well, I have pictures, and I don't know where to address this problem. Like, we have to keep it in mind before things move forward and ignoring this problem.
Okay, thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go back to Mr. D'Acunha. Are you there, sir? Mr. D'Acunha, are you there?
Mr. Chair, we've lost the room again.
Okay.
Enter the event panelist numeric password, followed by pound.
Mr. Chair, we're good to go.
Mr. D'Acunha, are you there?
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Sorry about that. We had another audio problem. You heard the comments from the previous two speakers. If you'd like to reply.
Yes. Well, first of all, I'll begin by replying to Mrs. Lizette Rowland and her retaining wall at the rear. We're not doing anything to that retaining wall, or not doing anything, meaning it's not part of our work. I believe that if there is anything, I would suggest that she and the owner contact each other from a perspective of, or she contact the owner. But I think that's outside the purview of this particular hearing. We're not asking for a variance relating any to retaining walls. We're not doing anything in retaining walls. I personally don't even recall the retaining wall, although I look at the survey and I do see something here, but that I'm going to keep that very simple. So I don't think that's what we're here to discuss, although I understand her concerns and I feel for her, but I would suggest that she contact the owner. As far as the neighbor to the south, I think that, first of all, we're addressing the issue of the house being new. That is a technical definition. It's a technical definition that the municipality has chosen to have in terms of addressing. But the reality is the walls are there. We are asking for a nominal amount of 4.5 inches, not half a foot. It's almost, but nevertheless, the condition exists. And so for us to foresee work in the rear and all that, listen, the owners are doing everything they can to beautify this house and beautify the neighborhood, which will in fact only improve the neighborhood and the property values of everyone at stake. There are precedences throughout the city in conditions of 4 feet and 6 feet where things come down to almost in fact, less than this, to 0.45. I've seen that throughout. Now, as I said, I reiterate, these conditions exist. On the north side, if the chimney is a problem, we can take the stone off the chimney, but the chimney again is there. And we can stucco the chimney with a very, very minimal amount of 1/2 inch. But as far as the garage protrusion on the other side, it is also there. And we have made an effort on the new wall construction behind the garage to be at 4 feet. But if we were to make this house any smaller, in fact, if anything, we're bringing a level of precedent to a much smaller and a home that is not in keeping with other aspects of the neighborhood. And I think that we have a good development here, a home that is bringing a much better state to the condition of this present development.
Did we lose him again?
No, did you lose me, Mr. Chair?
No, that's fine. Thank you. I just thought we had a.
Yeah, and I reiterate, planning gave us their full support. We worked very, very hard with planning for them to come to terms with the application, and we removed variances.
Okay, thank you, sir.
We've done well.
Does
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and members of the committee.
Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Dacuna.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I will draw your attention to variance number 4. You're asking for 3 stories instead of 2, right?
Yes, sir.
And sir, your variance number 4 is dependent on your variance number 5, which is the building height, and you're asking 10.26 meter.
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
And sir, your maximum allowed by the zoning bylaws is 8 meter. How can I accept 10.26?
Well, sir, I can address that one quite simply because at some form or fashion down in the past, the neighbors to the south and the neighbors to the north are already at 3 stories. Now, although I haven't physically gone there and measure it, I can almost attest to the fact that to get that they're going to be over. So the reality is, and I made that very clear in my early portion of the presentation. House number 2 is a 3-story house, much taller than the present condition of this existing house, and probably will be very comparable. House number 6, house number 8, and there are houses at 461, 463 Lytton that are 3 stories in height, very clearly occupiable on the 3rd story, and then a house at 400 Glen Grove, sir. So I think that is a fairly and house number 17, in fact, across the street on Forestwood. So house number 2.
Mr. Dacuna,
yes, sir.
Sir, what you are telling me, I will ask you a very simple question. All these 2, 4, and 5, and 6, what you are telling me in the neighborhood, when they were built?
Oh, these are very recent construction, sir.
How recent?
Mr. Khan, can you let him answer the question, please?
I would say extremely recent, sir. But my professional opinion, these are houses within the last 5 to 10 years, sir. Easily, if not
10 years.
Okay. Sir, can I
and
ask
also,
the
and also your variance number 2 and 3, they are not according to the zoning bylaw, they are much shorter.
Yes, sir. And I've explained to you why, sir. Because they are existing conditions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, can I ask the height of the dwelling you're proposing? Does it comply with the new bylaw 569-2013?
Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, or Mr. Chair, I apologize. I don't know that off the top of my head.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And in fact, my gut would tell me that it would, because it would have been here if it did not.
Okay, thank you.
I
Does
think
the committee
it
have any
would have come out
questions of
as
the
fair.
speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, after hearing Mr. Dacuna and also the other parties, I believe that although there is no staff recommendation on this particular application, I find variance number 4 and number 5 exceeding the zoning bylaws and the official plan. And 3 stories and 10.26 meter high is not complying, is not minor, it is not complying the zoning bylaw. Therefore, I move that these items be refused.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. I have a motion from Mr. Khan to refuse the application. Have someone to second that motion? Mr. Kidd seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? We have a tie vote. All support Mr. Khan's recommendation. And sir, your application has been refused. Thank you, sir. Now on
Thank you,
item
Mr.
number
Chairman.
34, 578 Finch Avenue West. We have one person registered to speak. That's the agent, Reza Mamanzadeh. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes. Can I get your full name
Thank
and
you. Thank
address,
you.
please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's Reza Momenzadeh.
Okay, thank you. I've been going through your file. We had a report came in on the 17th of November from City Planning indicating that they have no objections to your application. That's to construct the public library, provided that approval is subject to notice of approval conditions for the site plan control application. Did you have the opportunity to see that report, sir? Hello, sir?
Hello. Now I can hear.
Did you
Sorry.
have an opportunity to read that city planning report?
Mr. Chair, that's if possible, that's I would like to Mr. Ken Fukushima, our architect, join this meeting that I requested as a speaker on behalf of Toronto Public Library. I believe he's in the meeting, if possible.
Hey, Mr. Chair, so this is this file is actually the City of Toronto is the agent for this file.
Yes.
But I think we'll bring on the actual architect for this file to speak on the file in general.
Okay, thank you. So
yeah, and the agent or the
the architect down is a Ken Fukushima. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, Mr. Fukushima, I just wanted to ask, I don't know if you had, this report came in fairly late. I don't know if you've had the opportunity to see it. It's up on the screen. It's just the record. The city planning has no objections to your application, but they want it subject to a notice of approval condition for the site plan control application.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I actually just saw it this afternoon, but I would like to respectfully clarify a few things, if I may, to the committee.
I'm sorry.
On behalf of the committee. I would like to, I did see it this afternoon, but I would, if I could, please make some clarifications to the committee.
Okay, if you'd like to. It's pretty clear what you're asking for, but certainly if you want to make a presentation, by all means, go ahead.
One thing I would like to make clear, if I could, is that we are clear that the application and file reference street address is 578 Finch Avenue West. As noted on the notice, but on the agenda, you'll see it says 576 Finch Avenue West. We also have received some other correspondence from the city building and city planning for 580 West. We just want to be clear that is on the record as 578 Finch Avenue West.
Okay, thank you.
And we initiated the design process for this building in 2019, early 2019. We have had numerous consultations with city parks, forestry and rec, transportation and planning. And that included preparing our building and site design based on the OR zoning as indicated on the Toronto zoning map, which is the 569-2013 zoning, which does allow a 6-meter setback on the front yard. In July of 2020, we applied to city building for a zoning PPR. In August of 2020, we received a notice of compliance with zoning and that the submitted proposal complies with the zoning bylaw based on the plans and documents submitted. So the site and building design have proceeded on that basis for, they did proceed for more than 6 months. And I'd like to state as well, to clarify, the new library and site are being designed to achieve the standard of net zero energy So there's been a lot of detailed site design, civil engineering, driveway and parking lot designs to meet the requirements of the Toronto Green Standard. In April of 2020, we had our pre-applications consultation meeting for SPA. In November of 2020, we received a very positive response from the city's design review panel. In February of 2021, we made our application for site plan control. And it was during that process of circulation that we received, I guess, a contrary or conflicting notice about zoning related to the old grandfathered North York zoning bylaw notice. So as our proposed design complies with the current Toronto Consolidated Zoning Bylaw for the site as OR, we are hopeful that the committee will grant the minor variance for the front yard site back in compliance with OR zone without any conditions. Thank you.
Okay, so do you have an objection to city planning's recommendation that you be subject to a notice of approval conditions for the site plan control application?
We're just not thank you. We're just not exactly sure what that means. We are going through the site plan control process. So again, you know,
because it's a pretty standard condition that you have to get a NOAC approval as part of your site plan approval, right? So you understand that. Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker?
And Mr. Chair, we've lost the room again.
Okay.
Enter the event panelist numeric password, followed by pound.
Good to go, Mr. Chair.
I'm sorry, Mr. Fukushima, we had a dropout there. I'm sorry. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, that was it. Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on that application, please? Mr. Kidd?
I feel that the requested variance is a minor variance, and I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application subject to the planning staff condition that the approval be subject to the issuance of the notice of approval condition for the site plan control application file 108745 NNY 06SA by the Director of the Community Planning, North York District.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? The motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved, subject to city planning conditions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item number 35, 56 Bunnell Crescent. I have 4 people registered to speak. The agent is Stephen Kui, QI. Are you there, sir?
Good afternoon, Sir Chair and committee members. My name is Stephen Chi. I'm a planner with Design Plan Services, and we have been retained by the property owners of 56 Bunnell Crescent to present this application.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chi. I just wanted to, I've looked through your file. The only comments we have was one from Urban Forestry, a recommended condition. There's a report from Transportation Services dated the 9th of November, and they have no objections to your proposed driveway width. In view of the fact that we have three other persons registered to speak, sir. If you'd like to make a presentation to the committee on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Sounds good. So the application is to construct a new single detached residential dwelling and has 6 variances associated under bylaw 569/2013 and 1 variance under former bylaw 76/25. Before getting into the variances, I would like to know that there have been no concerns or objections raised by any city departments, and we haven't received any neighbor's objection as well. Transportation Services did issue a report for this application dated November 9, 2021, notes that the transportation services have no objections to this proposal. And I'm aware of the urban forestry recommendation to impose standard condition number 1, which is acceptable if the application be approved today. Regarding the variances, the proposed east side yard setback will improve the existing side yard setback condition on the subject property from 1.18 meter originally to 1.52 meter, which is a difference of 0.34 meter. This will increase the space in the east side yard for landscaping, access, and maintenance between the dwellings. The proposed west side yard setbacks only for 2 pinch points along the west side exterior main wall due to the pie-shaped lot, and a large portion of the west side of the proposed dwelling will actually be compliant with the required side yard setback. At its widest point, the proposed dwelling has a west side yard setback of 5.01 meter. The proposed west side yard setback will be a modest increase over the existing west side yard setback condition on the subject property, which is currently at 1.41 meter and will be in keeping with the existing character of the neighborhood, considering that the adjacent neighbor to the west at 58 Burnett Crescent has an east side setback of 1.2 meter from the entire length of the dwelling. Building depth is proposed at 19.3 meters, whereas 19 meters is permitted. The proposed building depth is only 30 centimeters above what is permitted as of right, and is largely due to the unique pipe-shaped lot of the subject property, which is a result of the property being on the bend along Burnett Crescent. Due to the unique frontage characteristics of the subject property, the proposed building depth is measured on an angle, and as such, only a portion, the northwest corner of the proposed building, is beyond the maximum permitted depth. The proposed building length is 16.58 meters, which is compliant with the maximum permitted building length of 17 meters. If the subject lot is a rectangular shape, the building depth should match the building length, as the proposed front main wall is located at the permitted front yard setback. So the proposal is also complying with the rear yard setback requirements, which demonstrate that the proposed building depth will be in keeping with the existing character in the neighborhood and will have no further impact. The front yard landscaping is proposed to be 54.34%, and 60% is required. The proposed front yard landscaping is only 7.16 square meter less than what is required by the bylaw, and the proposal is complying with the minimum required front yard soft landscaping. This variance is largely due to the unique pie-shaped lot again, which in order to access the garage, a wider driveway is proposed, which reduces the area of landscaping in the front yard. A difference of 7.16 square meter of front yard landscaping will have little to no impact on the existing streetscape. And please know that a portion of the functional front yard is located within the municipal right-of-way. Therefore, the proposal will provide sufficient open space, amenity space in the front yard. The proposed driveway incorporates a tapered design where it tapers towards the street and will be at a width of 4.5 meter at the street. The additional width is to align the driveway with the garage, and Transportation Services has no concern, and which is indicated in their report. The proposed front entrance stairs, the width is also due to that it's trying to match the width of the entrance, and it is very minor in my opinion. The height under the former bylaw 7625 is proposed to be 10.08 meter, where a maximum height of 8 meters permitted for a flat roof dwelling. So the proposed dwelling incorporates a slope roof design and is considered as a slope roof dwelling under the current zoning bylaw 569/2013. As per bylaw 569/2013, the proposed dwelling has a height of
Sir, can you
9.92
summarize,
meter.
please?
Yes. So it is, so under the new current bylaw, it is actually compliant. So based on my the analysis and justification, I believe the variances are minor in nature and meet the 4 test.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go to the next person on our list. I have a Craig or Suvi Fewer, F-E-W-E-R. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yes, can I get
Suvi,
your full name and
S-U-V-I.
address, please?
Suvi, S-U-V-I, Fewer, F-E-W-E-R, and I'm at 58 Bunnell Crescent.
Thank you, madam. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application?
Sure. So first of all, just listening to Mr. He, I believe it is, he said that no neighbors have opposed any of these drawings or variances. We have not spoken with anybody. The first we've heard about this was on November 8th when we received the letter. So we haven't spoken with anybody, contractors, the current neighbors, nobody. The issue with us is we are directly on the west side of this proposed new build, and they are proposing to come closer into our property. Now, all the homes around in our neighborhood are smaller bungalows, people that have built, they've kind of kept it on the same landscaping, low. We do have one house across the street that, yes, they built up, but they used the existing structure. And I just feel that, I mean, this is a large home that's going up. And once we start letting large homes going into this neighborhood, where we don't have any in this little pocket of ours, it's like the zoning is there for a reason. And we just feel that they could reduce the size of the driveway in order to not have the landscaping, which is number 4, the required landscaping. They can reduce the driveway in order to, come up with the 60% of landscaping. And their driveway to be a little wider, well, that's just going to be closer to our property line. And we have a small bungalow. We've just re-stuccoed and did the roof and soffits and everything else. And they're proposing to come that much closer with an eave coming another 18 inches. And if we ever choose to renovate and build a second story, then we're going to be stuck with these bylaw issues. And if we ever decide to sell when we get old, we're getting older, or if we decide to sell, then, the next owner is going to have to deal with these bylaw issues. And again, the privacy, they've got terraces on the back and overlooking our backyard. We have issues with our trees in the back. We have 2 beautiful maple trees that, the construction is going to be, according to the plans, the construction is going to be done close to those maple trees. So we're concerned. And this being one of the first houses that's being proposed in this neighborhood, it's a concern for all of us.
Okay, thank you, madam.
Thank you so much.
Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Joe Centraco. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am.
Can I get your full name and address, please?
So my name is Joe Centraco. I'm addressing this committee on behalf of my father, Mr. Dominic Centraco, owner of 54 Burnett Crescent, who has a concern about this variance application. My father's property is located on the east side of the applicant's property, 56 Burnett Crescent. My father has resided here for 42 years, and he has been using a large portion of his backyard as a vegetable and fruit garden since he purchased the property. And my father objects to number 7 on the requested variance to the zoning bylaw. The applicant is requesting a building height of 2.08 meters above the maximum permitted building height of 8 meters, bringing it to 10.08 meters. This additional request is, and building height, in his opinion, is excessive and will cause him to lose enjoyment of his vegetable and fruit garden. Currently, he has full sun exposure throughout the day as his property faces the south and the garden is located on the west side of the property. If permission is granted to build a height of 10.08 meters, a vegetable and fruit garden will not be sustainable as it will be affected by full shade. My father's pride and joy has been his garden for many decades and has provided himself and his family with homegrown fruits and vegetables. So therefore, Dominic Centraco, which is my father, and I'm representing him, requests that this variance not be granted. Also, we were not notified as well too. So as I forget the gentleman's name, he indicated that there was no objection of any of the neighbors. While we were not notified with any drawings other than receiving this notice on November the 9th or 8th, one of those 2 days. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go to the last person on the list. I have a Fred Romanin. Are you there, sir? Fred Romanin, are you there, sir?
Mr. Chair and members, we've had ongoing emails with this area resident about trying to get them connected to the event. It's my understanding that they have connected via telephone, and I have selected the account that I think is theirs.
Okay, well,
It is unmuted.
I'll try a couple more times. If there's no response, then we'll have to cut them off. Fred Romanin, R-O-M-A-N-I-N. Are you there? Fred Romanin, are you there? Okay, that's not, we'll cut him off. Well, not cut him off, he's not there. We'll go back to Mr. Chi. Mr. Chi, are you there? Mr. Chi, are you there?
Mr. Chair, it should be noted we've lost connection again.
Enter the event panelist numeric password, followed by pound.
We're back in. Sorry, another audio dropout. Mr. Chi, are you there?
Mr. Chair, do you want to try? I'm not totally sure when we lost room connection. I wouldn't mind trying that.
Sure, okay. We'll give
That
another
phone
try.
number one more time.
Fred Romanin, are you there? Fred Romanin, are you there? One more time. Fred Romanin, are you there? No response. I'll go back to Mr. Chi. Mr. Chi, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I heard you, sir. You heard the comments from the last two speakers. If you'd like to reply to them, please.
Okay. Thank you. 3 minutes, Mr. Chair. I just want to clarify that what I meant by no objection. I meant I didn't see any written submission on AIC before this hearing. So in answering to the lady at 58 Bunnell Crescent, with regarding to the side yard setback on the west side, so it is only for the 2 pinch point. It's because of the lot condition. It's a pie shape. So we try to increase the rest of the building to have larger setback. So in my opinion, it is in keeping with the neighborhood and also to reduce the impact of that sidewall. And also I want to note that 58 Bunnell, their east side yard setback is 1.2 meter for the entire length of the building. Answering to the comments from 54 Bunnell, so the building height, again, it is due to the definition of slope roof under the old former bylaw. It is a compliant height under the current 569-2013. It's just because under the old bylaw, it is categorized as a flat roof building. But under the new, it is considered as a slope roof and is below the requirement. The requirement is 10, and we're at 9.92. I think I forgot to answer another comment regarding large home. I don't think that's accurate. We don't have any FSI or GFA variance. We comply with building length. The building depth is only due to the unique pipe-shaped lot condition. And I think that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, I just wanted to confirm again, Mr. Chi, the height of the building complies with bylaw 569-2013. Is that correct? Which is the new bylaw?
That is correct.
Yeah, so it does, yeah, the old one, the 7625 is an old North York, obsolete North York bylaw. But you comply with the new City of Toronto bylaw with regards to height.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the concerns of the neighbors with this redevelopment. However, in looking at the actual variances, they do appear to me to be fairly modest, and I accept the explanation provided by the agent with regard to the setbacks and the heights. I'm going to put forward a motion to accept the application subject to forestry condition.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second Mr. Kidd's motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? The motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry conditions.
Thank you, Chair and committee members. Have a good night.
Thank you. Item number 36, 87 Bideford Avenue. I have 2 people registered to speak. The agent is a Christina Kostadinovich. I probably mispronounced that.
Mr. Chair and members, the agent is not on the call at this time. It should be noted they did not officially register for the meeting, though we would have circulated them the link anyways.
So do we have someone who's representing the applicant?
To the best of my knowledge, no.
Okay.
What we'll do, though, is we can stand this one down for a moment.
Yeah, I'll hold.
And I'll reach out to the agent.
Yeah, I'll hold down. We'll move on to the next item. Item number 37, which is 18 Almont Road. I have 1 person registered to speak. The agent is Shenshu Zhang. Are you there?
Yes.
Sir, can I get
Yes, I'm here.
Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yeah, Shenshu Zhang, 98 Scarsdale Road, North York.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask, there's gone through your file. there's a couple of
Yeah.
reports here from staff, one from Urban Forestry, a recommended condition. And there's also
Yes.
one from City Planning dated the 9th of November, which recommends reducing variance number 1 for the proposed side exterior wall height to 8 meters or less. And I just wanted
Yes,
to
we
ask you,
reviewed the report.
if you did that, sir, does that mean you'll have to take your application back to the drawing board?
Yes, we agree to reduce the main wall height to 8.0 meters.
Okay, so you're proposing to change variance number 1, which currently reads the proposed sidewall height is 8.36 meters. You're proposing to change it to 8.0 meters.
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to ask, it's fairly clear what you're asking for in the 4 variances we have before us. I just wanted to ask, is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this afternoon?
No, we don't have other changes.
Okay, thank you, sir. So we have, does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Okay, being none, we have a revised application now. The applicant has revised variance number 1, reducing the sidewall height from 8.36 meters to 8.0 meters. So if I could get a motion on this revised application, please. Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I find all variances after modification of variance number 1. I find it all meeting the requirement of the zoning bylaws, straightforward. So I move this application be approved subject to the forestry conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Someone to second Mr. Khan's motion. Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your revised application's been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Let's go back to item number 36. Mr. Wills, do we have an agent there?
We do. It's actually Drew Laszlo is the agent, but like I said, they didn't officially register. So what usually happens is we notify the agent on the file. In this case, he had someone else's name on there. So, but yeah, it looks like I got an email from Drew Laszlo, and he's actually looking after the file.
So we can go to this application now?
We can, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Go back to item number 36, which is 87 Bideford Avenue. I have the agent, I think it's a Mr. Laszlo. Sir, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
Sure. My name is Drew Laszlo, agent for the owner. Address is 3317 Young Street.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just noted that there were, looked at your report. There is, through your file, there's a number of reports. It's recommended conditions from urban forestry. There's a 9th of November Transportation Services report that has no objection to your proposed driveway width. We have a report from the 9th of November from City Planning recommending that you eliminate variance number 3 for the proposed rear platform side yard setback and eliminate variance number 7 for the proposed front yard landscaping, which apparently these you've agreed to with planning. Staff is also recommending variance number 1 for the north side yard setback from 1.22 meters to 1.5 meters. I just wanted to ask, sir, did you want to make those changes as recommended by planning?
I would be more than happy to eliminate variances numbers 3 and 7.
Okay, so 3 and 7 are deleted.
Correct. And as far as variance number 1 is concerned, I'd like to not go to 1.5 meters as per the planning report. I'd like to go to 1.35 meters.
Okay, so you're proposing to change variance number 1 from 1.22 meters to 1.35 meters.
Correct. And one other modification having to do with variance number 6. I'd like to reduce the proposed coverage down to 33.95%.
Okay. Yeah, 34.34% to 33.95%?
Correct.
Okay, thank you, sir. We have one other person registered to speak, sir, so if you'd like to give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your revised application.
Sure. If planning staff could please put up the one page of material that was sent in, just a quick map. If we could get that up on screen, that'd be terrific. Perfect. Okay, just briefly, so the red rectangles on there, they represent homes in the area that have recently been granted, like variances, approvals that have been granted by Committee of Adjustment, where we have 1.5 meters on one side and 1.2 meters on the other side maximum. So what I mean by that is in those cases there, we have 1.5 meters, 1.2 meters on the other side. In many of those cases, we have 1.2 meters on both sides. So the 1.35 meters that I'm asking for is definitely in keeping with the neighborhood. But what I want to say is more importantly than, you know, approvals that the committee has given out in the past, the neighborhood, these 4-foot setbacks or less, they are 100% characteristic of the neighborhood. They are everywhere. It is as common as it gets. That's why I feel that 1.35, the adjusted 1.35 side yard setback variance that we're asking for is totally in keeping with what's going on in the neighborhood. As far as the other variances are concerned, variance number 2 has to do with the other side, which is 1.53 meters we're proposing, and planning staff is fine with that. We've eliminated variance number 3. Variance number 4 just has to do with the depth of the rear deck. We're over by 10 inches, so quite minor, I think you'll agree. The front yard setback, variance number 5, we're just asking to be able to pull the house up 1 extra foot or 0.3 meters forward, just because there's an existing pool and some existing landscaping going on at the back, and we'd like to retain as much as possible of that. So that's why we need that front yard setback variance. Let me see, variance number 6, again, just so the committee knows, that's the coverage. We've reduced that down to 33.95, but I'd like the committee to know the house itself is only 32.44% coverage. There's an existing shed in the back that we're retaining, and that's included in the coverage calculation. So although we're asking for 33.95, the committee should know that the house itself that's being proposed is only 32.44%, which I believe is quite reasonable. Finally, we're just asking for a driveway width variant. We're keeping the curb cut the same, and the portion of the driveway, we're just retaining the existing portion of the driveway on city property, and transportation has no issue with that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go back to the next speaker on the list. I have an Ann Doyle. Are you there? Ann Doyle? Ann Doyle.
Mr. Chair, we've lost the room again.
Oh, okay.
Enter the event panelist numeric password, followed by pound.
My apologies, we had another audio dropout. I'm looking for Ms. Ann Doyle. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, thank you, Ms. Doyle. My apologies. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Ann Doyle, Doyle. I live at 89 Bideford Avenue, which is the house immediately to the north of 87, the applicant.
Okay, thank you, madam. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application?
Yes, I would. I wrote a letter, which I believe is in your file, on November the 3rd, in which I expressed my concerns about the application. I since had the opportunity this week to meet with the owner, and my concerns regarding drainage, downspouts, and the window wells and the hardscaping have been mitigated by the owner. He says that all of the grading will be adjusted so there is no drain off on my property. I also wanted to raise several issues with respect to my personal privacy. The north side yard setback, which I understand is now going to be 1.35 meters, which is more than the 1.22 that was originally requested, but not as much as the city had asked for at 1.5 meters. The additional width will help with the issue of tradespeople trying to get their equipment back and forth. I'm concerned about the addition of 5 window wells, which do not exist on this wall now, and I was concerned about the narrowness of the walkway, so an additional 6 inches will help in that respect. The other issues around privacy for me personally are the fact that there is a picture window, which is new on the north wall, which looks directly into my open back porch. The owner has assured me that this window will be covered with coverings, which will ensure my privacy on an ongoing basis, provided this is executed as he has indicated. I can live with that. And also lighting. I wanted to be sure that no lights would be directed onto my property in the backyard, and I have been told that there will be no light spillage. I am concerned about noise and my enjoyment of my property. Currently, the HVAC unit is located in the alleyway between the 2 houses on the north setback. When these units are operating, this unit, the noise reverberates off the bricks between the 2 houses, which makes sleeping rather difficult because the air conditioner tends to come on between 11 and 1 o'clock in the morning. My request of the owner was that any units that need to be relocated, such as HVAC, pool equipment, that kind of thing, that I can have some flexibility. The new north wall, the wall of the new house, is quite a bit longer than the current wall, and if those units can be located closer to where the current shed is, which I understand is to be demolished, that would solve my issues of not being able to carry on a conversation on my back porch when the HVAC units are running. So I just need some clarity around that shed and that area, and if the HVAC units can be located there, if they're to be located on the north wall at all. I don't know whether that falls under the Committee of Adjustment purview or not, but it is a concern that I have. And my last concern and my primary concern is the cedar tree that is on my property at the southwest corner of my house in the front yard. This tree is about 50 or 60 years old. It's about 40 feet tall and 112 centimeters in diameter. I really do not want to lose this tree. I understand that an arborist report has or will be commissioned. I just would like to be reassured that the arborist report will provide a viable mitigation plan if this tree short-term will be injured in the short term, or the worst possible thing would be that it was permanently injured and were to die 5 years from now. I just would really like to ensure that urban forestry does as much as can be done to save this particular tree. Other than that, I do understand the need for the owner and the wish for them to rebuild, and I'm supportive of the application if these concerns can be mitigated for me. Thank you for listening, and thank you. I don't envy the sound problems that you've all had all afternoon.
Well, thank you very much, madam, and kudos for you for sticking with us. Thank you. In terms of, I'll go back to, is any questions of the speaker? Being none, I'll go back to Mr. Laszlo. Mr. Laszlo, you've heard Ms. Doyle's comments. If you'd like to respond to her, please.
Yes, the variances, I mean, as you know, they kind of don't directly, or sorry, the comments from the neighbor don't directly relate to any of the variances, I believe, being sought today. One thing I just like to make clear is the proposed side yard setback of 1.35. That's further away than where the existing house is currently located. That's just so the committee knows that. But of course, there's already been multiple meetings with the current owner and both neighbors, both adjacent neighbors, to work out, you know, about the window coverings, window wells, all this stuff. Yes, an arborist has been out to the property. We're going to do, I believe, if this application is approved, I believe there will be a forestry condition on there. So we will be obliged to deal with any forestry related issues. I believe that's all I have to say. Thank you.
I just wanted to ask too, sir, with respect to the HVAC unit, you'll make sure that any air conditioning units comply with the zoning bylaw?
100%.
Okay, thank you.
100%.
Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Kidd? Oh, before you start, Mr. Kidd, just to be clear, it's a revised application. Variances number 3 and 7 have been deleted. Variance number 1 with respect to the side yard has been increased from 1.22 meters to 1.35 meters. Variance number 6 with regards to the landscaping, variance number 6, which relates to the coverage, has been reduced from 34.34% to 33.95%. So the application, that's a revised application. Sorry for interrupting, Mr. Kidd.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I think the proposal as amended produces an appropriate application for this property. You've read in the revisions into the record, so I won't repeat those, but I will make it subject to forestry condition as well.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously, sir. Your revised application has been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry conditions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now on item number 38, 210 Burnett Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That is the agent David Lee. Are you there, sir?
Good evening. Yes, I am.
Yes, hello, sir. I just wanted to ask, I've gone through your file. A couple of reports from staff, one from Transportation Services dated the 10th of November. They have no objections to the driveway width variance. There's a report from City Planning dated the 9th of November. They have no objections to your application. recommending that the proposal is constructed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing submitted to the committee, attached as attachment 1 to their report. I just wanted to ask, sir, you just have the one variance before us. It's pretty clear what you're asking for. It's a variance for just for the driveway width. I just wanted to ask, sir, is there anything that you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material that we have before us this afternoon?
Nothing aside from the fact that we've met all of Transportation Services concerns from the September 23rd committee hearing.
Yes, terrific. I remember that it was a deferral so that you could meet with transportation, and you've satisfied them. Just ask, does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have reviewed the documentation, listened to the appellant or the applicant, and I believe I would move a motion to accept this, reflecting the fact that Transportation Services has no objections and that the planning report has only a condition that the construction be substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing submitted to the Committee of Adjustment as attached to their report.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Someone to second Mr. Hunt's motion? Mr. Kidd seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. I have, sir, your application has been unanimously approved, subject to city planning conditions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Item number 39, 76 Albertus Avenue. I have two people registered to speak. The agent is Tim Sprague. Are you there, sir? Tom Sprague.
Can you hear me? Yeah, Tom Sprague, yeah.
Sorry, sir. If I could get your full
yeah,
name and address, please.
Yes, it's Tom Sprague, Sprague and Company Architects, and our address is 156 Duncan Mill Road here in Toronto, Suite 17A.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just noted, I went through your file. I note that we have no comments or recommended conditions from staff. We have one other person who'd like to speak to this application, sir. So if you could give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Yes, I would like to do that. Just a bit of brief background of this application. The owners have lived in their home since 2009, 12 years ago, and they do now require additional living space for their family. I think if you could, if the staff could put on, we sent in on November the supporting material, which was posted November the 16th. If you could pull that up, I think that would be very helpful to explain our thinking and how, with respect to the variances. On November 16th, we put a letter in as well as an attached elevation. And if you could put that on the screen, I think that would be very, very helpful. Just what the owners would like to do is presently at the back of their house, at the back of their house, there's a two-story addition that sticks out 6 feet beyond the back wall of their house. And what they'd like to do is take that, yes, that's the drawing I'm referring to. They'd like to take that two-story addition down, replace it with a larger one, which would have a one-story addition that would go out 16 feet from the back wall. And then the second floor would project out 5 feet from the back of the existing wall. So it would actually be a foot less than what exists there now. And then again, the third floor that we're proposing would be located over the existing house. I'd just like to, on the drawing you see before you, with respect to, first of all, with the building length of 16.05 meters, as can be seen on that, we've drawn the line where the 14 meter is, and the only part that really is projecting beyond that is on the first floor. And it's not as if this is going up 3 stories at this length. So it's only at the first floor. And in the second floor, we jogged it in.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, we lost him again.
Enter the event panelist numeric password, followed by pound.
Ladies and gentlemen, my apologies again for our audio dropout. We're on item number 3976 Albertus Avenue. Mr. Sprague, my apologies. We dropped out right in the middle of your presentation.
Yes, okay.
If you'd like to continue, my apologies, sir.
Yes. No, I'll continue on. I think we had the picture of the side elevation up on the screen, which if that could get back.
We'll get it back up there as soon as we can.
That would be helpful. So the point being, what we've done on the, is we've stepped everything. Yes, there it is right there. So what we've tried to do is work very closely with the neighbors and the impact on the neighbors' houses. So what we've done here, as you see at the back of the house, we've stepped everything in so that the impact on the neighbor's house is on each side is very minimal. And the third story part basically lines up with the side walls of the houses on each side. Also, I should say at the front of the property, on the elevation at the front, we've got a sloped wall with a sloped roof on each side with a dormer. So we're trying to minimize the impact of the neighborhood. The idea was to tier this back and to minimize the impact in conjunction with the neighbors. I should say, of course, this has been reviewed with both immediate neighbors, and both are very supportive of what's being proposed, as evidenced by the letters that you have on file from them. And they're from 72 and number 80. That's the two neighbors on each side. I'll make one brief comment too on the eaves overhang, which is actually on the east side, going close to the property line. basically on that wall, we're building in line, which we'd like to do obviously with the line of the second floor below. It's located 0.34 meters from the property line. And at the very top, we have a extension going over just to protect the wall. It's sort of good construction practice. And so it can, just at that very top part would be built out to carry out over the wall. Should say the overall height of the house of the proposal is within the bylaw of 10 meters. I did also put, which was also statistics of other properties, and we that was posted on November the 11th, and it was of other properties in the area, just listing floor space index, length variances, and heights of other walls in the immediate area and recent builds. So I do feel that what's being proposed here is very much in keeping with the size and scale of other projects. There have been some that have been approved right up to 0.79 FSI. So what's being proposed here, I feel, is very much in keeping with the scale and the proposal and the size of other homes in the area. I also feel that what's being proposed here for the owners is, I think, reasonable. We certainly tried to accommodate the neighbors and take away the impact and try to be very sensitive to the houses on each side. So I do feel that what's being proposed here is, in my opinion, reasonable, minor, and I think importantly as well is that both neighbors on each side, the immediate neighbors most affected, are both
Thank you,
are
sir.
both supportive.
Thank you. Does the
Thank you.
committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Sprague,
Yes.
you are a professional, and I am going through all these 5 variances. And my concern is, sir, as a professional, you should know that variance number 1, you have exceeded the most allowable of 0.60 FSI.
Yes, that's correct.
And sir, you have also explained recently that east eaves are 0.03, which is 1 inch roughly, against 1 foot, which is the allowable.
Yes.
And front wall, main wall heights are 9.28, while it is maximum 7.5 allowed. So all these 5s are exceeding the zoning bylaws. You're not observing and respecting the bylaws. You're going beyond it. I don't understand how can all be acceptable to me as not being minor.
Well, yes, I will respond to that. First of all, with respect to the floor space index, it is higher than the 0.6 times the allowable coverage, but very much in keeping. If you refer, maybe I'd like to pull up, if you wouldn't mind, the November 11th, which was posted, and you can see what we're proposing here is not out of keeping at all with other homes on the area, very much so, that have been approved by the committee. It's not that drawing, but it's the November, it was the November 11th one that was posted, and it's got all the statistics. And so there's many other examples in this area where people have exceeded. Yes, there we are. So there's many other examples. I just referred to recent ones in the immediate area. So what's being proposed here is definitely not out of keeping with other ones that have been approved, and size of other houses that have been approved in the area, not only with the floor space index. I think I've explained the length variance that is only referring to a very small portion at the back. And we've really tried to design this uniquely to meet the needs, to accommodate the needs of the neighbors. We tried to be very cognizant of working with the neighbors on each side. I don't think this is out of line with what's happened. If you look at all these examples, they were all approved by the committee. And if you look at that, we're certainly on the square footage, we're at the bottom of this whole scale. I mean, they go up to, 2019, there were 2 projects, 0.76 and 0.79, which were approved, and 0.75, and we're down. There's a couple other ones down where we are. So we're not out of keeping at all with many projects on this street. I just stopped at this point where we were, but there's other ones that are all in the exact same size. So this is not out of keeping at all with the FSI.
Thank you, sir. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll move to the next person on the list. I have a Wendy Orbach or Frank Miller. Are you there?
Hello, how are you?
Yes, hello. Thank you for waiting. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Well, thank you. It's been a long day with a lot of technical difficulties, and I appreciate all of you staying the course. Anyhow, it's Wendy Orbach, 83 Albertus Avenue, Toronto, M4R 1J6.
Okay, madam, if you could give us your views on this application.
Well, I just want to be clear, we're not against development, but what we are against is overdevelopment of a small 26-foot lot. We are asking for a deferral so that the homeowner and the architect can creatively reduce their variances to align with the prevailing character of the street, to respect and reinforce OPA 320 and the official plan 5A to H. And I understand that the rules, COA rules and TLAB rules, that the status of a homeowner is not relevant, whether you be a current resident or a developer. It's clearly a land use plan, a land use hearing where planning, the official plan, recent decisions and statistics are what is significant. I would like to ask Adam to put up Franco Romano's FSI chart, please, from my letter. So let's unpack my letter, and that utilizes hot off the press, recently adjudicated Committee of Adjustment and TLAB decisions and planning statistics. As well, let's go through Sprague Architects comparison table. Can Mr. Willis put up my letter, please?
Yeah, it's on the way.
Mr. Willis? Okay, thank you. If we look at Mr. Romano's FSI chart submitted for 86 Briar Hill in December 2020, so that's not even a year ago. That's for the entire zoning area, and let's focus on Albertus. We can see there's 113 homes on the street. Only 19 houses, or 16.8, are larger than the bylaw of 6.0. 16.8% is not a significant statistic that should determine the prevailing characteristic of the street, especially when 83.2% shows that what the prevailing character is. If we go down, up a little bit, Mr. Willis, please, we'll see there's 2 recent TLAB and COA decisions. It's right at the top. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you. So, thank you. 151 Rosewell, a decision in August 2021, 15.41 meter lengths was refused. 108 Albertus went to TLAB, 15.5 meters length refused. Height, let's look at the sidewall of this development, which is higher than the requested variance for front and rear wall. In the CO of A refusal at 151 Rosewell, the sidewall was refused at 8.69. And at the end are both the CA and the TLAB decisions, if you go all the way to the end of the letter. 151 was refused at 8.69 meters high, and the TLAB refusal at 108 Albertus was refused at 9.46 meters high. In addition, please note Stan McCooch's comments that the variances should not be granted because of the impact on the abutting neighbor's rear garden and the unpleasant experience of facing to one side or another of a high overpower wall. And you can read his comments there that I put in the body of the letter. Let's look at Mr. Sprague's comparison chart. 202 Albertus is 36 feet wide, or 10.9 meters, compared to this house, which is 26 feet wide. 125 Albertus is 28 feet wide, or 8.7 meters, compared to this house. So both houses don't really compare in lot size. The closest house on Mr. Sprague's chart is 112 Albertus, which isn't even included in the public mailing. 112, 123, 125, 150, 118 all have integrated garages, so you can't really compare these houses. 189 has a very, very steep A-line pitched roof, and 159 has a partial third floor. 150 Alberta's C of A decision is clear that the first and second floor cannot be larger than 50 meters long. This house appears like a 3-story triplex. The owner and the architect can make some creative modifications to length, sidewalls, or roof line, take your pick, to affect the mass and scale of this proposal and bring it into line with the prevailing character of this
Madam,
street
can you
to
summarize, please?
official plan. That's it. They can make some modifications. They don't even have to be large modifications. They just have to make some modifications to bring it into line with the prevailing character of the street to
thank
meet
you,
the
madam.
official plan.
Thank you.
We ask that a deferral be made.
Thank you, madam. The applicant has to ask for a deferral, madam. The applicant hasn't asked for one. If the committee wants to ask, it would be up to a committee member to ask for a deferral, but as it stands right now, the applicant has not asked for a deferral.
Well, then we ask to reject it.
Well, that's it. We either approve it or reject it. Thank you. I have, go back to Mr. Sprague. Mr. Sprague, you've heard the comments from Ms. Orbach, if you'd like to respond to them.
Yes, well, I will just briefly respond to it. I noticed that you made reference to 108 Albertus, which went to TLAB. It was a different situation. It was 0.80 FSI, dramatically more than what we're talking about. It also had a height variance. It was 10.86 meters high. Our of the building itself, our building is not. We do not have a height. So I'm not sure that that's a fair, real comparison. I also, and I don't know Rosewell's away and everything else. All I know is that we've tried to work very closely in terms of impact on the neighbors you mentioned. We've worked to minimize that. So the design is a bit unique. We're not going straight up out the back. We've tried to be very careful at the back to delicately step it back to minimize that impact. So we've worked very closely with the neighbors, both immediate neighbors who are supportive of what's being proposed. And I would state strongly that there's everyone's looked on its own merits on its own, but I believe we've really gone through efforts here to minimize the impact from the streetscape of the third floor and also at the back of the property. And both in working with both the neighbors that are both supportive, they're both very much in favor of what we are proposing to do. So I do not feel that what we're doing is out of line with several other homes just in the immediate area and everything else. So I do feel that, and personally, that this is a very reasonable and well thought out solution.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sprague. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I find all these 5 variances exceeding the zoning bylaws and not observing the official plan. And these are not minor in nature, therefore doesn't comply with the all 4 tests. I move that this application be refused.
I have an application, I have a request from motion from Mr. Khan to refuse the application. I have someone to second that motion. Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Mr. Kidd dissenting. Sir, your application has been refused. Thank you very much, sir. We're on to item number 40, 15 Bakersfield. I have one person registered to speak. That's in Iraj Nasrolahi. Are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Sir, can I get your full name and address, please, sir?
Yes, my name is Ahmad. Actually, I'm representing Iraj Nasrolahi for the property of
Sir, can you speak up? We're having trouble hearing you.
Yes, can you hear me better now?
Better. Yeah, it's better.
Okay. My name is actually Ahmad. I'm representing Iraj Nasrolahi for the 15 Bakersfield Street.
Okay, thank you, sir. Before you, I just wanted to ask. There's a number of reports here with your file. There's a recommended condition from urban forestry. There is a transportation services report dated the 30th of September, which recommends refusing variances number 2, 3, and 5. And excuse me, they've also identified that you have a building encroachment into your neighbor's property, which they have
Yes.
considerable issue with. I've also noted that there is a city planning report dated the 24th of September, which states basically that, and you have to be careful with this because they indicate that they want you to submit, they're prepared to approve it provided you submit a landscape plan to the satisfaction of the Director of Community Planning, North York District. But I note on your plan that you have virtually no landscaping. So, well, there is no landscaping. It's almost all hard surface. So in order to provide that landscaping, you're going to have to either delete parking stalls or change your design, which would mean that you're going to need additional variances. Plus, you have the issue that transportation has identified about the fact that you have you have a shed and a chain link fence that encroach into your neighbor's property. So, did you want to proceed, or do you want to defer and discuss these issues with transportation and city planning? You understand that if you have to submit a landscaping plan, it has to be to their satisfaction, which means you could be back to the committee requesting more variances. It would be my suggestion. It would be my suggestion, sir, that given the issues that they have identified, and hopefully you've read those reports, that my suggestion is you defer your application and discuss, so that you can discuss it with city planning and with transportation services.
He's actually sitting right beside of me. Let me just have a little,
Sir, I'm having trouble hearing you. What did you say?
I'm actually just translating it for him. He's sitting right beside of me. So if it's possible, like just give me a quick second. Let me explain it to him. So, and then see what's his result.
So would you like to defer, or would you like your application heard?
I defer, okay,
all right. Well, we'll wait for a few minutes while you finish your discussions.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Mr. Nasrallah, we can't hear you. Oh. Mr. Nasrallah, are you there?
I am here, actually. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Would you want to proceed, or would you like to defer?
We actually gonna proceed. Like I spoke to him, he's saying that he agreed with the number 2, 3, and then number
I'm sorry,
5
I'm having
is.
trouble hearing you. What was that?
He's saying that he's gonna proceed. He's okay with number 2 and 3. So he's agree with that. And then number 5, with the number 5, he's saying that we're not gonna have like any, like a driving, road there on the north side of the building. I mean, they just gonna leave, like a 7 point. Let me just see the number. 071.
Okay, hang on,
I
sir.
guess meter.
Sir,
Yes.
I don't know how you can proceed. If you want to proceed, that's fine. But remember,
Okay.
if a committee approves it, we may put on these conditions with respect to providing a landscaping plan, which quite frankly, I don't know how you're going to do that. And quite frankly,
He
we
actually
also
has a
have a
plan for
report from
that.
Transportation Services recommending that your application be refused. Now, are you sure you want to go forward?
Well, he's saying that if the community adjustment, like they approve my thing, it's gonna actually just build the landscape. So he
Mr.
doesn't
Nasrallah,
actually.
do you want to go forward or do you want to defer? That's all you have to say.
Okay, he wants to defer it.
You'd like to defer it?
Yes.
That's a wise choice. Okay, that way you don't have to pay for another application if you're refused. I have a motion to defer the application. Can I get Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to put forward a motion to defer the application sine die to allow the applicant to meet with Transportation Services and Toronto Planning to revise their application.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? The motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been deferred to the next available meeting so that you can discuss your application with City Planning and with Transportation Services. Good luck, sir. Committee, we are
Mr.
finished.
Chair.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, they won't be able to hear us. We've lost the call again.
Oh. Did he hear that he was deferred?
Enter the event panelist numeric password, followed by pound.
We're reconnecting, Mr. Chair, but the room is still not unmuted. The room's unmuted now. Oh my God, you put it up.
Okay, thank you. We don't have any more speakers left on the list, do we? They're
No, Mr. Chair, item number 40 was the last item of the evening.
Okay, great. Thank you. Committee members, thank you so.
Oh, Mr. Chair, can you make sure you close the meeting?
Can I get a motion? Can I get a motion to terminate? Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Seconded by Mr. Khan. Thank you, gents. And I know Nadini's not here. I mean, you guys were great. My apologies for all the technical gaffes, and to staff here for busting their butts trying to fix it. So thank you very much, folks.
Happy holidays, everyone.
You too, Steve. Bye-bye.
Take care, gents. Have a great Christmas, eh? We'll see you in the new year.
I think we're on December 28th.